had just found King Macbeth deceased. He was slain by the noble Macduff, who entered with his severed head. Gross. There were multiple witnesses who gave pieces of evidence that helped to reveal the events leading up to the murder of the once good man that was Macbeth.
Macbeth was said to rule as a tyrant, and that his downfall was not a surprise to many. Many residents of Cawdor believed that his murder will be beneficial to the overall state of Scotland, and therefore the world.
The first piece of evidence showing Macbeth to be an unfit to rule and somewhat out of his wits is the murder of former King Duncan. Although the murder was not admittedly blamed on Macbeth, many high-ranking individuals, such as Duncan's sons, suspected Macbeth of doing the terrible deed after killing the grooms and blaming it on them.
And now we go to the scene with our live reporter for more information on the murder of King Duncan and how Macbeth did it.
Thank you, Michael. Many things led up to the crime of Duncan's death. One of the bigger causes is the involvement of witches who completely changed Macbeth's outlook on life and were a main cause in his eventual switch to evil. The witches had told Macbeth that the Thane of Cawdor was to become king. Macbeth, who was the Thane of Cawdor, felt the right to become king now belonged to him. It is confirmed that he killed Duncan to fulfill the prophecy and take his place as king. Another person involved in the murder is Lady Macbeth, his wife, encouraging Macbeth to kill Duncan. Multiple accounts describe her as pushy and overbearing. She appeared to be very nice in events such as banquets, but she was also said to have a rather evil side to her. Back to you, Becca.
Thank you for that, Duncan. Wasn't the only person he murdered. He hired murderers to kill many other innocent people, including his best friend, Banquo.
Yes, the two were close, but after discovering evidence that connected Macbeth to the killing of Duncan, Banquo started to become suspicious. Macbeth then saw the only option was to kill his good friend, Banquo.
This time, Macbeth did not involve his wife in the crime, seeming to become more secretive and paranoid of his plans.
Banquo's son, Lance, was also there and was in line to be killed, but escaped before the murderers could get to him.
While this was a cold-hearted action, you can tell Macbeth felt remorse and paranoia at the banquet, thinking he saw Banquo's ghost.
There was another previously unknown motive in Macbeth's murder decisions, and that was the fate that the witches had decided for him. In addition to telling him he would become king, they also told him Banquo's sons would inherit the crown.
To be safe, Macbeth went back to the three witches, feeling uncertain of his power, and he was told he could only be killed by a man not woman-born and to watch for the approaching woods. Now, we have our reporter out in the field to explain the situation involving the killing of Macduff's family and Macduff's revenge on the terrible Macbeth.
Thank you, Becca. We have found that Macbeth hired murderers to kill Macduff's family in case they could threaten him. The murderers killed both Macduff's son and wife, obviously incurring Macduff's wrath and having him swear revenge. Macduff then joined Malcolm in England. Malcolm was somewhat wary of Macduff, however they eventually came to an agreement to overthrow Macbeth after seeing that they were both loyal to Scotland. Their loyalty to Scotland and their own troubles caused by Macbeth convinced the two to invade Scotland with the army of England. As all this was happening, Lady Macbeth was deathly and mentally ill, and the doctor was very worried about her health. Macbeth's wife was later found dead, and according to multiple reports, she was very remorseful and seen sleepwalking trying to remove blood from her hands shortly before her demise. After his wife's death, Macbeth questioned the entire meaning of life, and also seemed strangely numb to news, almost as if he did not care and thought it would come eventually. Then, later, Macbeth found Macduff leading the British army into his castle. The army was determined to remove the incompetent king and restore order to their once proud homeland. Back to you guys.
The army had tree branches to disguise themselves as trees, like the witches forewarned that the woods would approach.
Macbeth fearlessly encountered several members of the army, keeping the prophecy of the witches in mind, and eventually killed them. Macduff then arrived at the scene, but Macbeth betrayed no fear, assuming that Macduff was of woman born. Macduff fought and killed Macbeth when the army approached, as Macduff was not a man of woman born. He was born through a C-section, which went along with the prophecy the witches told Macbeth earlier. Despite learning Macduff was not a woman born, Macbeth was still willing to fight him because he said that he was not willing to bow down to Malcolm.
According to a source at the scene, now that Macbeth has been slain, Malcolm is taking his position as king and following in his father's footsteps. We will now go live to Macduff, the man who has just taken his rightful revenge in killing Macbeth.
I am standing here with Scotland's finest, Macduff. who has more to tell us about his heroic acts and motives for being at the scene. How do you feel after all these events that have just occurred?
While I'm not proud of killing man, it needed to be done. I did justice for my family, and I feel it was the right thing to do. Macbeth started to become a terrible man. Macbeth killed many people, and among those people were my own wife and child, and he ruled as a tyrant. I had to take revenge on this man and punish him for his horrible crime.
Do you feel as if Scotland is now in better hands with Malcolm in the middle of it as the new king?
Yes, I trust Malcolm to be a fair ruler for the people. He has strong reasons to be a fine king, as I worked with him to overthrow Macbeth, this terrible ruler. I know from personal experience that he is a good man and will serve this country right.
Is there anything else you plan to do now that you have the right man in charge of Scotland?
I shall serve for King Malcolm if he needs from now on. I can rest easy knowing that Macbeth is no longer king and has been overthrown.
Thank you for your time, and we wish the best of luck to you in your future. It is an honor to have been in your presence.
It's a rather happy ending to a sad story.
Well, that's definitely right, and we hope that peace and benevolence will be restored to the great land of Scotland. With that, we conclude today's presentation of the news.
Tune in later for our season premiere of the reality TV show of the Three Witches taking on a new role, messing with more high-ranking rulers.